What is up, good people? Jungle Inc. here. Hope you're doing well. This is going to be a pretty quick video. I'm worn out. I was building a fence in my front yard all day. I've been talking about doing this for 3 years. Finally kicked off the project. And for someone that sits around at a desk and jibber jabbers all day for a living, to actually get out there and do some physical labor, man, pretty exhausting stuff. I'm going to soldier through this video here. Let's see how I can do. Now, the crypto market pretty flat right now. As to be expected, we're in the doldrums. Bitcoin's playing this little game with 40,000, but most, major cryptocurrencies out there are up or down by less than 0.5%. And so we're going to have to work through this until we get to the next stage of this crypto market, which when I peer into my crypto ball, I can tell you either going to go up or it's going to go down. I don't know which way we pivot from here, but I know we're just kind of stuck here in this boring part of the cycle. And that's just life. You'll see this kind of thing. The market will trade sideways and then make a big move. And either prices go up and we make money and we celebrate, or prices go down and we get great opportunity to acquire more premium crypto assets. Now, today was interesting because we saw Bitcoin ETF flows flip to negative for the first time since the launch. And this is sensible. Again, we are distancing ourselves from that historic event, a lot of hype, a lot of FOMO. And as I said, we were going to see some of that subside. Probably 30 to 60 days, we'll really see what stands where we are today. And we're going to add to that demand. And as adoption picks up, you're going to see a lot more activity out of these ETFs. But you can't go off the first day of trading or even the first couple of weeks. You have to let things settle down a little bit. Very similar to IPOs. Again, typically, the day you probably don't want to buy a stock is the IPO. Not always, but most of the time, that's maximum hype, maximum excitement, and prices do really silly things. I think it's kind of similar here with the Bitcoin ETF. Let all that stuff kind of subside, and we will see what we're actually working with. Now, this is an interesting article, and it's from Cointelegraph, and they're saying, look, Ethereum ETFs are coming sooner than you think. And I agree for a lot of reasons. One, the SEC keeps losing in court. They're not going to be able to block this much longer. There's a lot of political pressure. And you got your big people on Wall Street that are demanding this. They're not going to concede the broader crypto market. It will start with Ethereum and it will roll off to other major crypto assets. It's just a matter of time. It's happening. But listen to this quote that they said in this article. The author says the question of whether ETH is a security is null and void, is once it becomes an ETF, it becomes a security. No, it doesn't. The thing being traded, the underlying value is not, transformed into a security. When we buy or sell gold, we don't go into the SEC and register that transaction. There's a gold ETF. Now, the ETF itself, that is a security and it trades, on stock markets and things like that. But not the underlying value. There's ETFs for all sorts of commodities. The commodity doesn't, transform. So I thought that I've heard people say stuff similar to that, and that is crazy. There is no truth to that. Yes, an ETF itself is a security, but the underlying value, especially if it's, if it's a commodity like Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, gold, whatever you are trading, the commodity doesn't transform into a security. So this was an absolutely wrong article by Cointelegraph, even though I agree with what they're saying. We're going to see more ETFs here sooner than later. It's only a matter of time. Now, the DOJ, they're being kind of petty here. Because let's be honest, if CZ didn't want to settle out these problems, well, he never would have come to American soil. They can't extradite him. They couldn't really do anything. But he saw a good opportunity to settle this out, and that's exactly what he did. Well, CZ tried to pledge his entire Binance stake. He's like, just let me go home. I'll come back for sentencing. And they're like, no, you can't go. Like, the guy's not going to put up his whole company and not come back. He just never would have showed in the first place. I'm surprised that they didn't work this out beforehand. That's one of the things I would have had dealt with before I even showed up in the U.S. Because the DOJ, they wanted to end this. They wanted to win. And I like this type of thing for this reason. They didn't have a lot of other options. The SEC doesn't seem to get this idea. There was no win for the DOJ unless they did a deal, unless they incentivized CZ to show up here voluntarily, and that's what they did. And the result is better for investors because Binance is kind of shoring up their business. It's going to be more compliant. It's going to be safer. They're going to have monitoring for their activities. So it's a better overall crypto market. CZ is paying a large penalty for the things they did wrong. And so we're left with a better Binance, a better crypto space. We got rid of a big problem, a big ticking time bomb that really could have hurt a lot of people. But the SEC, they won't do this kind of thing. They won't sit down and come out with a reasonable solution. And again, on this kind of thing, he should have dealt with this before he showed up. End of the day, he's going to be either on house arrest in the U.S. or actual jail time. We'll have to see for quite a while. I mean, I don't think it's going to be huge, but he's going to be stuck here for a while. So whether he could go home for a month or not the end of the world, even though I think they should have let him go. Ripple CTO explains passive income potential with XRP. This is what I would say. The AMM amendment, it's going to get passed. And when it does, yeah, I'm going to put some XRP and I'm going to earn some yield off of it, but that's not really what excites me. I think when you pair that functionality with a stable coin, you're really going to be able to build a bunch of interesting applications that people are going to want to use. And so I think long-term, that's going to build a lot of value. So even more than earning yield myself by using this, by putting my XRP up in these liquidity pools, because I will do some of that for sure. Above and beyond that, it's just the fact that I know this is an important feature, and I believe it will spur a lot of building on the XRP ledger. That's the biggest point here. Now, Peter McCormick says his lawyers have just confirmed that Craig Wright has had his final appeal denied by the Supreme Court. It's over, I won. Welcome to the law, Mr. Wright here. Now, this, I believe, is another one of these court cases where Peter McCormick made the claim that Craig Wright is not Satoshi. Not sure why this is a big deal one way or the other, but of course Craig Wright sued him. And to understand how big of a deal this is, Peter says for context regarding Craig Wright and why there should be no mercy. 2 months before his trial, and before they found out that Craig Wright was supposedly, according to Peter McCormick, want to watch out. Don't come after me, Craig. I'm just reporting the news here. Found out that Craig was fabricating evidence. It looked like he would lose. So there was some fabricated evidence. It was really damaging. And it seemed like, we would have a big loss here for Peter McCormick. He had to hold multiple calls with his lawyer's bankruptcy team. So he's getting ready. He's like, you know what? I'm going to lose everything here. Craig's cost would have wiped me out. About £5 million, somewhere around there. His business assets, football club, podcasts would have been forced to sell to pay the court order. Craig himself would have ended up owning everything. All my possessions would have been sold. He would have been able to live in his house for another year, but then that also would be sold and he would have to find accommodations, somewhere to rent, because he'd be wiped out. He would have no more business. At this point, with costs still outstanding, he would have been totally bankrupt and barred from holding a position of a director for 7 years, and he would be looking for a job. This outcome would have destroyed my income and everything I had built up, just because he made the claim that Craig Wright is not Satoshi. And it looked like this would happen. And luckily, with Peter McCormick, he's able to flip it here and get a win, a big win. And I hope it's a punishing win. We saw the same kind of tactics on HODL. And if you're familiar with that, he also sued him for claiming he's not Satoshi. He goes on to say, these psychopaths are willing to destroy people's lives with no care for the impact to either the person being sued, their children, or their wider families. Absolutely no mercy. Finish them. So we'll have to see what happens. But it looks like Craig has lost. And I've said this before, if you like him or not, I think Craig Wright, if he gets a big judgment against him, he will put on a clinic in terms of the power of cryptocurrencies. Because you can imagine, this guy probably holds most of his wealth in Bitcoin. And if you go after him and you get a judgment, he'll probably sit on it. He's probably not going to pay. And he's probably going to show you how, Bitcoin and other crypto assets can be used for protection of assets. So let's see what happens as this goes on. Craig Wright has lost, and I don't know what the penalty will be there, but I really feel good for Peter McCormick, really good guy. And I know this is a lot of stress on him. He had to go to the hospital. The stress was so much over something just as silly as this argument about who Satoshi is. What's so great about Bitcoin is who Satoshi is, it don't even matter. Let me know what you think down below. And as always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.